Hey everybody, thanks for joining today. Really excited about this series that we've pulled together. My name is Schulke. I'm the Vice President of Product Management of Dell EMC's Networking Business Unit. And today I'm joined by Greg Walton.
Thank you, Drew. Greg Walton, Partner Business Manager for VMware. Today we're going to address some questions that people have when they're trying to, go down the SD-WAN journey. So
yeah, a lot of good ones that we have here today. So check this out. It's going to be really informative. So Greg, a question I hear a lot around SD-WAN is this whole idea of SD-WAN. Is it a feature or is it a platform?
It's a great question, right? Because SD-WAN is, at the end of the day, it's just a collection of different technologies. And today, a lot of these technologies all exist in their own boxes per se. So let's take a look at what that looks like today. So let's take your existing branch locations. And an existing branch is going to have a collection of boxes. And we've all lived in this world forever, right? Where you've got a router, you've got a firewall, you've probably got maybe some WAN optimization, and perhaps maybe you have a load balancer.
Yep.
So this is a lot of boxes. I lived in this world for many, many years, and every time I'd walk into a wiring closet at one of my customers' networks, I just want to pull my hair out because this is what it looked like.
Yep.
So as we move to the future, right, we can start to look at maybe consolidating some of these boxes. So if we look to, say, we got the internet here, we got the MPLS here, and then over here on this side, if you draw me a data center.
All right. Big data center.
Big data center. Okay, so one of the things that traditional networks usually have is, pretty small links for their MPLS connection. So, small links, not a lot of bandwidth. So the first thing that we really try to address with SD-WAN, right, is trying to address this small bandwidth, right? And so what we've seen here with the evolution is these links here have grown to the internet. And with MPLS, or with SD-WAN, we can combine these together to create one big pipe. So let's say if we bonded these together, we'd end up with 110 megabits worth of throughput. Fantastic, right?
Yep.
So one of the things that this new dynamic does for us is it eliminates our need for WAN optimization. Because WAN optimization, really, its whole point is to go in there and try to pull data off the network in order to try to conserve as much bandwidth as possible.
Because you had a tiny pipe before, so you got to figure out how you're going to fit everything in there.
Exactly, right? So WAN optimization goes down. SD-WAN also takes over the function of load balancing. Load balancing is really about taking two links and trying to feather your traffic out between the two of them in equal amounts. Well, with SD-WAN, we really don't need that anymore because we're going to build that right into it. So we really don't need any load balancing anymore. Firewall functions and router functions, for as long as I can remember, we're always predicated on this idea that I'm going to have custom ASICs, right, a custom-built appliance, and I'm going to run my software on top of that. Well, that's great and all, but the problem with that is that when you load those feature sets on top of that hardware, you're stuck. You're stuck with whoever you bought your hardware from and the software manufacturer. So one of the things that everybody in this space they can all see is that SD-WAN is the next best thing. And that next best thing is SD-WAN. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, hey, customers of mine, whether you're router, firewall, WAN op, or load balancing, you're always going to have these devices in my branch. So what it is SD-WAN. This thing's not working very good, is it? Let's try it again like this. SD-WAN is actually a function of a router. It's actually a function of a firewall. It's a function of WAN optimization. So if you take this tact that they have, which is, hey, it's a feature, right? It's a feature on these, then you always have to have that router. You always have to have their hardware, and you always have to have their software running on it.
Right.
Dell, VMware, VeloCloud, we take a different tact. We say that actually SD-WAN actually is the platform. And it runs on x86 architecture. And so what that allows us to do is it allows customers to take a approach that says, hey, I don't have to have custom hardware. I can have a universal piece of hardware here, and I can run SD-WAN in a platform on there. And by doing it as a platform, that means that I can also run a firewall service on here if I want to. I don't really need WAN optimization or load balancing anymore, but maybe I have a next generation branch compute, and I can run that all in the same box.
Absolutely. So clearly, really good response here in terms of feature versus platform, understanding this feature approach. These vendors, they've got a lot of turf to protect here. They've made a lot of investments, and they've got a lot of install base and really want to go tap onto it. But to your point about kind of the shift architecturally and moving into x86 and virtualization and so forth, platform approach seems to make a lot more sense.
It really does. And I was in a situation very similar to this when I was running a very large network with about 19,000 different locations. And I had 19,000 routers, 19,000 firewall devices, 19,000 WAN optimizations. And the biggest problem I had was trying to keep all of this different hardware and all this different software constantly up to date. And I was really pulling my hair out. So by moving with this kind of architecture here and being able to eliminate a lot of these boxes, it gave me a ton of flexibility long term.
Great. Well, hope everybody found that useful. One of our series of questions around the SD-WAN journey for our customers.